The 779th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Rhythm is giving away a $250 future and throwing a March Madness party. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party for all the details. Plus, you can compete with the SGPN this March for a chance to win $75,000 in the SGPN Survivor. You can enter at splashsports.com/SGPN. And also, SGPN is giving away $2,000 in our free March Madness bracket competition. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket.
Howdy ho, degenerados. Welcome to episode 779 of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Let's give it to Glenn Pipe or Glenn Pipey on YouTube. Now I understand why people with no hair wear a hat. Shave that head. Obviously, he was talking to Gumby.
He's a good fan of the show, though. He's a good fan.
Yeah.
No, I got hair, by the way.
Not nice
fan.
Talking to Gumby. Gumby's got a mop of hair.
Plenty of lettuce up there.
I told my son about the comedy. He's like, yeah, obviously it's true. He's been wanting to shave my head for a while. I think he just wants to do it. That's why. So, and yeah, this goes out to him. Breaker Wannabe, you can get one too, because Breaker Wannabe says, good shout on the Natalis pick. Picture of a female. There's no way Breaker Wannabe's a female, though. There's no way we have females that watch us. Come on. As you can, I'm your host, the balded one, aka Jeff Fox, and this is not a new promotion for us to cover though. Tuff-N-Uff. They have 142. This is their 142nd event going down this coming Saturday. And I asked Friday, 9 p.m. Asked myself, why did Gumby call it an audible? And why are we covering this promotion we've never covered before? And then I saw the fight card and I'm like, oh, okay, now I see why. Right, Gumby?
I almost did their last card. Like when we were coming up with ideas a few weeks ago, their card before was actually filled with quite a few good fights on it too. Their odds are usually pretty readily available in the offshores too.
Good.
So, another reason to do them. But then we wound up being loaded up with shows that week anyway. Yeah. So I wound up not doing it. But I've had my eye on doing some Tuff-N-Uff stuff for a while. They put on a pretty darn good fight card.
What can you tell us about Tuff-N-Uff? Have you watched? It's on Fight Pass, right? Easy to watch. Yeah, where are they based?
I think it's Vegas, if I'm not mistaken,
okay.
Which I think is part of the allure for a lot of these promotions. This is you remember a couple of weeks ago when they needed some last minute fighters because that Seattle card fell off. Mm-hmm. Most of them came the two that came there. Both of them were from Tuff-N-Uff, I believe.
Okay.
So guys graduate off of Tuff-N-Uff, go to the UFC. Also, as you'll see on today's episode, we get some UFC / Contender Series cast-offs. There's lots of good stuff on Tuff-N-Uff. So yeah, it's always a good time.
And you asked, you answered the odds before I had to ask about it. So that's the key. Can you bet on these? Can you find definitely. The odds? Did Pancras odds show up anywhere last week? Because I didn't see them anywhere.
You had to look in not just offshore books, but national books in other countries. They existed, but you had to really do some digging. Also, we talked 2 episodes ago about Abasov. You might remember, and he I believe fought on a Tuff-N-Uff somewhat recently.
Oh, nice. Any famous grads that you can think of off the top of your head?
I mean, just the ones who just came. That just fought, Julius Walker just fought off. I'm sure, they've held 140. Yeah, they've been editions, and they're also not people who lock fighters into 3 or 4 term deals either. You'll notice they'll fight here, they'll fight in United, maybe they'll show up back here in a couple of fights. So you don't. Why you think of some people as being oh, that's an LFA guy, or oh, that's a Cage Warriors guy. You don't typically think oh, that's a Tuff-N-Uff guy, but I bet you, in terms of graduates, they've gotten tons of people who you've heard of before.
Yeah. Probably the best policy to have if you're going to run a regional promotion is, let the fighters come and go as they please. Can't really be restrictive with your contracts, but hey, that's just me talking. All right, let's get you some picks after I remind you.
We are giving away $2,000 in our free March Madness bracket competition. You can just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket to sign up today. Plus, remember to compete against SGPN this March in our SGPN Survivor. It's got a $750,000 winner take all. Enter at Splash Sports. That's SPLASH splashsports.com/SGPN.
All right, Tuff-N-Uff. So it's tough with 2 F's, uff with 2 F's, because uff is a word. I guess you can spell uff any way you want, because it really is not a word. Friday, 9 p.m. If you're in Vegas, go to the theater at Virgin Hotels, and you can check out the event. 9 p.m. Eastern Start Time. UFC Fight Pass, which makes it convenient. And 15 MMA bouts. I'm not even going to joke about doing all 15. That would be crazy if we did all 15 for a Tuff-N-Uff event. Yes, another one. All the events on Friday basically lead one into the next. We got Cage Warriors to start, and then we got yesterday's event, which was CFFC, and then we got Tuff-N-Uff after that. So perfect. You don't have to do anything but watch and bet on MMA all day. Another good thing about this card, Canadians on it. Gumby skipped over one of the Canadians, but
no, these are the top 5 fights according to Tuff-N-Uff's website.
Okay, right.
So, yeah, I didn't skip any.
You still skipped over it.
Further down, yeah.
You can use them in the lightning round if you want. All right, this gentleman, first fight is featherweight. I have to go on to his Tapology page because his name is so long it does not fit on the main page. He is from Kyrgyzstan, Tynchtykbek, Kanybek. He's another uulu. Tynchtykbek is, for those keeping track at home, Tynchtykbek, obviously. They love the Y's over in Uzbekistan. He is fighting against someone you may have heard of. He's from the Americas, United States of Americas, Ty-wan at Claxton. 3 5-minute rounds, 145. I'll tell you about uulu, aka Kanybek first. Kabilan is the nickname. I don't know what that means. I think I forgot to look that one up. He's 9-1 with 5 knockouts, 1 submission. He's never been finished in a fight. This is his debut in Tough. 2-0 over his last 2, including his last fight. He won via TKO. Regional champ. He's not lost since January 2023. He used to fight at bantamweight. 7 years younger than Claxton, 2 inches taller. Air Claxton, 7-3 with 4 knockouts. He submitted once, 1-0 in this promotion. Tough. He's 1-2 over his last 3, 2-3 over his last 5, but did win his last fight. He's not lost since June of 2021. He went 6-3 in Bellator. He went Bellator Never Die. RIP. 0-1 as a pro kickboxer, 1-0 as a pro boxer.
Yeah, and he recently took that break to go box for a little while. And for some reason, when he came back from that, I feel like his striking looks worse. It's like longer and slower. And maybe that's also just him aging. Because like towards the end of his Bellator career, the once touted prospect of Ty-wan Claxton sort of started to fall off. I'm going to guess Kanybek is going to come in here as like a negative 200 favorite. They tend to favor, he's Kyrgyzstani, you said, right? They tend to favor Kyrgyzstanis on the regional books and stuff like that. And Claxton has fallen off to the point where, he doesn't look all that great anymore. He spent that last fight. I went and watched his last fight. He spent that last fight like trying to wrestle the whole time and not really getting any of it going. And like that's kind of his mode to victory here. And I think Kanybek is like 8 times the wrestler he is. He's really tough at getting down to the legs. The speed of his shot is just like exceptionally fast. I do think in order to be like a true prospect, Kanybek has like really got to work on his striking. We talked about Igor Kostachenko in the last episode being like kind of stiff on his feet. Kanybek isn't so stiff, but he is like one of the guys who like does a little bit more of that leaning that I always talk about hating. So like he's still got to figure out the striking aspects of it, but like Claxton isn't going to hurt him, in my opinion. So, like, he's got kind of the right matchup here for him to mature in terms of the striking. And then in addition to that, he should just be able to fall back on his wrestling whenever he needs it. So, I'm going to take Kanybek. My guess is like a 2-1 favorite. And, I'm fine. If the number comes in there, I'm fine with that too.
Kabilan is a Kazakh soccer player. I don't know if Kazakh and Kyrgyzstan get along with each other or what the deal is, but
I don't know what international treaty you're pissing off right now.
Yes,
but,
exactly. That's the only Kabilan I can find. So there you go. All right. We're going up to a couple Americans fighting next. They're fighting at 145 as well. Tyshawn Williams. We got Ty-wan and Tyshawn. Tyshawn Williams versus Alfred Walker. 3 5-minute rounds. Walker's freight train. 14-7, 8 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted 5 times. This is his debut in the promotion. He's won 2 straight and 5 of 6. Both of his past wins have come via finish. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Check out our store, sportsgambleraugust.com/store. Promo code madness, 20% off. Used to fight at 155, 2012 Pro MMA debut, 5-1 in kickboxing, and a champion in that realm. Weems is 6-0, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. This is his debut as well. For Tuff, he's won 3 straight via TKO. He has fought at 155 and 160 before, 9 years younger than the Freight Train.
I think Weems is going to be like a negative 250 favorite. We'll probably get like plus 230, 225 on Walker. And I'm going to go Walker. This is a guy who keeps surprising people in fights. And they're putting him up against the 6-0 prospect. So I know like he's going to come in here as an underdog. But like this is a guy who turned away the prospect status of Landry Ward in LFA. Like Landry Ward, everybody had him pegged as possibly being a champ in the future. And Alfred Walker beat the hell out of him on the feet. And then, he did wind up losing a title fight that he took on short notice against Elijah Johns, which no shame in that. But it was pretty much just Elijah Johns has got a good wrestling game and Alfred Walker couldn't get enough of his striking going. Now, Tyshawn Williams, I think, fancies himself a good wrestler, but I just don't buy the shots. I know that they've worked on the level of opponents he's been fighting, but he doesn't shoot a double leg takedown that makes me think he would consistently take down Alfred Walker. I just don't think he would. Sometimes the shots come in high, sometimes he's far away. They just don't look high level. He did hit a really nice ankle pick in one of the fights I was watching to sort of follow up that shot. But he didn't hold the opponent down for a really long time after that either. So I don't trust the wrestling. And then on the striking side, his strikes are so wide and he sort of gasses himself out pretty quickly. The fight I watched of his, he was really tired in just the second round. And that's the worst thing about fighting a guy like Alfred Walker is Alfred Walker has insane cardio. In the end of that fight with Landry Ward that I was mentioning, he was still pouring it on the guy. He is able to put combinations together even very late into fights. He hits so hard. And he not just hits hard in the one hitter quitter kind of sense, but he also in the way of just he hits you with a really hard shot and there's another really hard shot right behind it. So yeah, I'd like Alfred Walker in this one. I think he's the right kind of person to give Tyshawn Williams his prospect loss.
All right. He's predicting a prospect loss and hopefully big money for us. All right. Before we move on, let's tell you about Edge Boost. SGPN has partnered up with Edge Boost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. An Edge Boost card allows you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstake site, racetrack, or casino. Plus, you can earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using your Edge Boost card. And your money is safe as the card is FDIC insured. The best part is no credit checks and it's completely free. Sign up today and use the promo code SGPN so you get better cashback rewards and instant tier 2 status. Obviously, you're going to use that for Al Horford and Kyle Filipkowski prop bets. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. And we're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet every sport. Plus props for every game. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. Easy deposits and lightning fast payouts using crypto. Kyle Filipkowski and Al Horford prop bets. Damn right they have those. Obviously, you're going to want to check out the MMA lines there as well. It's mybookie.ag, promo code MMA SGPN. Make sure you put the MMA there first for us. That's mybookie.ag, promo code MMA SGPN, and then you get 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. All right, let's move on. The Tuff-N-Uff card. We are going on to Weems and Penha. Eduardo Penha versus Joshua Weems. They're both American. They are both bantamweights. I'm going to tell you about wide open Weems first. If he was a wide receiver, it'll be a good nickname. You don't really want to be wide open if you're in MMA, though, do you, Gumby?
Not a great nickname.
No, it's not. 12-3 with 9 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted once. So he's been finishing all his losses. This is his debut in the promotion. He's won 2 straight and 4 of 5. He's not lost since October 2022. He went 0-1 in the UFC, 0-1 in Contender Series, multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get our shirt, get our gear, get our merch. sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Madness is your code. He's fought at 145 and 155. His missed weight twice at bantamweight. 1-1 in pro grappling, 3-2 in bare knuckle MMA, 1-0 in bare knuckle boxing, and 0-1 in professional boxing. Penha is Duda, 5-0 with 4 submissions, 2-0 in Tuff. He was an All-American wrestler in college, an inch of reach, a year younger than Weems. So he's a prospect they're setting up here, hopefully, right?
I think so. And Weems has got that pedigree from being on Contender Series, so like he's the perfect kind of guy to have in that fight. But he's been fighting bare knuckle MMA, and I don't know what the hell to make of that. And granted, he's fought good people. He lost to Downtown TJ Brown. He beat Jason Knight, if I'm not mistaken, in bare knuckle MMA. And like that's like maybe a really good encapsulation of the type of fighter he is, because he's a guy who relies on being on top in a wrestling situation. And against Downtown TJ Brown, not happening.
TJ Brown.
Up against Jason Knight, totally gonna happen. Jason Knight's fine working his jiu-jitsu from the bottom. So that's the style Weems is. And then you look over at Penha, and first of all, he's not just a jiu-jitsu guy, despite all of the submissions. Mm-hmm. He has really snappy kicks, and he throws them to all three levels, which I really appreciate. And then, like, on the jiu-jitsu side, man, is he fast to your back. Like, his transitions are so quick. I'm not positive about the wrestling yet, but I almost feel like if Weems goes to that grappling, which I think he kind of has to, like, I think he's slower than Penha on the feet. If he goes to that grappling, I think he's in danger constantly. That's how good the jiu-jitsu of Penha is. And then, like, you mentioned before, he's an All-American wrestler. So, like, there's something to be said there. Now, I don't know where he was a wrestler and where he was an All-American and what.
Oh, I can't remember.
Is he a D3 All-American? So, that's different than a D1. So I don't know. I haven't seen a ton of his wrestling in terms of MMA wrestling, but I have seen the jiu-jitsu and the transitions in jiu-jitsu, and they're just nasty, and his finishes are great. So, yeah, I think Penha is probably going to come in here and submit Weems. I'm guessing because Weems has got the cage or the Contender Series history, like, that might keep the odds kind of close. Let's say, like, -175 for Penha.
Okay. St. Cloud State and Colorado Mesa. So I don't think they're D1, right?
St. Cloud State, are they the ones who are good at D3 football all the time? I think that's a D3 college. If I'm not
sounds like Minnesota. I think St. Cloud State.
It's in Minnesota. Yeah,
and I believe his dad is a MMA guy. I think he's trains under his dad's.
Yes, he trains under his dad.
Right? Yeah. There you go. We know lots about Eduardo Penha, and he's in his topology picture. He's doing a Steph Curry. He's got his mouth guard sticking out of his mouth. So there you go. Nice. That's all I know about him. All right, some familiar names. Topping off the card, we'll go to the co-main event first. Obviously, Canaan, Kawaihae, U.S. versus Marlon Gonzales from Mexico. 3 500 rounds, 145. We'll tell you about Gonzales first. I don't know why I said it fancy, like 145 is a special weight class. It's not. He is called Fortaleza, even though he has a Peruvian flag. My apologies. I don't know why I thought it was Mexico, and it was my eyes are going. I'm getting old. But he fights out of Fortaleza though. That's his nickname. His fight camp is Fortaleza. We had the Fortaleza kid who actually is from Fortaleza yesterday. This is Fortaleza, but it's a fight camp from Peru. So go figure, right?
Okay. I got nothing for that. I don't have
no. There's nothing that. It's weird. A Brazilian name, but they're in Peru. So anyhow, Fortaleza Gonzales is 15-6-2 with 1 no contest, 6 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been submitted once. This is his debut in Tuff. He's lost 2 straight, 1-3 over his last 4, 3-4 over his last 7. He's not fought since June of 2022. He's not won since May of 2019. Regional champion. He's fought at 135 and 155. 2013 Pro MMA debut. He's another bare knuckle guy. He went 0-1 in bare knuckle MMA. Kawaihae, 9-2 with 1 no contest, 2 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been knocked out once. This is his debut as well. In the promotion, he's won 3 straight and 5 of 6. 2 straight wins via finish. He's not fought since August 2023. So a couple guys knocking the rust off here. Has not lost since November 2021. 0-2 on Contender Series. Gumby, who did he lose to?
First one was Chase Hooper.
Correct.
And then the second one, was it Jonas Villarino's wheel kick? Was he the guy who got hit by Jonas?
Yes.
The most confusing non-signing I've ever seen, because he was winning that fight, but Villarino hit a wheel kick and didn't get hired.
Yes. That's totally a catnip for Dana White, you would think, right?
At least now it is. That was a while ago. And like I said before, Villarino wasn't looking good up until then.
Just bleed, bro. Come on. Just like Bobby Green, poor Bobby Green on the weekend. Speaking of wheel kicks.
That's a knockout of the year candidate, by the way. That is immediately at the top of that list.
Yep. Fighting nerds going to the top. All right. Back to Kawaihae. 101 Bellator. I won't ask you who he beat in Bellator. Used to fight at 125. 5 years younger, 3 inches taller than Fortaleza.
Yeah, this is a squash match. I'll say like negative 325, negative 350 for Kawaihae. Gonzales hasn't looked good lately. He backs up really heavily. Pretty much anytime he's fought, his back is wound up against the cage shortly into the fight. And, he doesn't throw a lot of volume either. And then on the other side, Kawaihae, his only 2 losses were, kind of when it mattered most, sadly. But, like, he is an exceptionally good wrestler and with really good jiu-jitsu, too. He beat a guy who I think might be on Contender Series this year, Chris McKay, who we've talked about. He's fights for Anthony Pettis' promotion most of the time, but has fought for some other promotions too. I think he was in LFA once. And Kawaihae submitted him in 20 seconds. There was like a weird, like kind of shot from McKay that he stuffed. It jumped on his back, sunk in the rear naked choke, and put him out cold in like 25 seconds or something like that. Like his wrestling and jiu-jitsu is really strong for a dude who we're going to see at this side. So, like, he's fighting a guy who's willing to back up and willing to put his back against the cage all the time. That's a nightmare. Yeah, it's Kawaihae here. If he's in the 3s or 4s, you could use him as a parlay booster because I'm not worried about this one at all. Give me Canaan Kawaihae.
No sweat pick from Gumby. All right, before we give you more no sweat winning picks, let me tell you about Rhythm. Gumby's in a rhythm with his winning picks, and we're telling you about a different rhythm. RITHMM is how this rhythm is spelt. And more importantly, Rhythm is throwing an epic March Madness party, and you're invited. All Rhythm users are invited to a first 4 watch party Wednesday, March the 19th at the awesome Stadium Swim at Circa Las Vegas. Free drinks, plus you get to hang out with you guys from SGPN. And it gets better. Rhythm is also giving away a $250 March Madness future for one random lucky Rhythm user. Even if you can't make the party, you can still enter the future bet contest. So come by and use Rhythm to help you fill out your bracket and make some bets while you're there. Rhythm knows what to talk about when it comes to March Madness. Here's some stats from last year. Stats and success from 2024. With UConn winning, Rhythm's percentage of winners was 39% higher than ESPN brackets as a whole. Rhythm had 34% of the brackets. ESPN had 24.7% of the brackets. Rhythm predicted Duquesne, NC State, and Oakland upsets. 45% of Rhythm brackets had NC State reaching the Sweet 16. A free party plus a chance at a $250 future bet. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party for details. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/party. And Underdog Fantasy, NBA, NHL, college basketball, whatever your sport, you can cash in big with Underdog Fantasy Pick'em. Underdog is offering a Luka Doncic discount for every Lakers game for the rest of the regular season. Also for football diehards, Pick'em projections for select players, 40-yard dash times during this week's NFL Combine. Gumby, do you have a play for the people?
Yeah, Tuesday, we got the Pelicans in the late game. I'm going to take Trey Murphy III's higher than on his rebounds. New Orleans' front court has been really banged up lately, and he's had 5 or more rebounds in all of his last 4 games. So I'm going to take Trey Murphy's higher than on his rebounds.
He's a 3-point gunner, but Gummy's going for the rebounds here. Sign up with the code MMASGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. OrderNotFantasy.com, promo code MMASGPN. Actually, everyone is. There's no such thing as a 3-point sniper, I guess, bomber nowadays, right? Everyone bombs the threes. Yeah. I was ahead of my time. I wasn't allowed to shoot threes as a big man back in my day, Gumby. Ahead of my time.
No. You wanted to be Brooke Lopez back then?
I'm not quite that big. I was a power forward, so pick a power forward. I wanted to be that. Okay. All right. Tough featherweight championship. Jamie Siraj, the Canadian, versus the champion versus Diego Brandão. Yes, Diego Brandão still in the fighting game. I checked. He fought last in the UFC in 2016. It really doesn't seem that.
Do you know about his list of losses in the UFC?
Go ahead.
So he lost 4 times in the UFC that led to his release. Mm-hmm. Tell me anybody has had a tougher 4 losses before getting a release. So he lost to Darren Elkins, won a decision over him. He got knocked out by Dustin Poirier. He got knocked out by Conor McGregor, and he got submitted by Brian Ortega. Like, that is an insane run of 4 losses, and then to be shown the door on that one. Like, you could lose to those 4 guys right now, and they'd probably just, you could still be basically in the top 15.
Yep. Yeah, they let people sit around. Oh, actually, Andrea Lee pour out a little.
She sadly got the
She is gone now, yes. 6 straight losses. I thought she had the Smiling Sam clause in her contract, but actually, she did even worse than him. He didn't even lose 6 straight out.
He didn't lose 6 in a row? Come on, he had to have lost 6 in a row.
I thought
you keep giving me the breakdown. I'm going to look up Sam Alvey.
I thought she had the record. People were saying, but you may be right. All right, Siraj versus Brandão, 5-minute rounds, 145. Let's see if Gumby can pick against the Canadian here. The challenger is DB. What a great nickname. His initials. Brazilians usually come with the strong nicknames, not this in this situation. 29-22 is Brandão's record. 16 knockouts, 6 submissions. He's been knocked out 12 times, submitted twice. This is his debut in Tough. Loss over his last 3, 4-2 over his last 6. He got TKO'd in his last fight. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store. Now that you're talking, do you want to tell the people about?
Yeah, so technically she had the longest losing streak. He had a 9-fight winless streak, but it was 4 losses, a draw with Daun Jung, and then 4 losses.
Fantastic. There you go. All right. Brandão isn't that bad. 6-4 in the UFC, 3-0 in the Ultimate Fighter, and the champion of his season. Do you remember who he beat?
Dennis Bermudez.
Yes, another old name. Now, Dennis Bermudez. That's another DB
I have a poster of Dennis Bermudez in not 10 feet from me right now.
Really?
Did you know that?
They made posters way back then?
No.
Posters existed?
He was the co-main event with the aforementioned Darren Elkins at the first live event I ever covered as a media professional.
Oh, nice. And you stole a poster?
No, I bought one. You
bought it. Oh, there you go. Good. You must have been getting paid big bucks by whoever sent you there, right?
They were doing all right.
Was it me that sent you there?
No, it wasn't you. You.
All right, that's Brandão. That's Dennis Bermudez as well. Brandão used to fight at 155, has missed weight before at 145. 2005 pro MMA debut. 01 is pro grappler. So 20 years in the biz. Siraj is the gremlin. Don't feed him after midnight. Don't get him wet. 12-2, 4 knockouts, 5 submissions. He's been submitted 1 time. 2-0 on Tough, and the champion. He won the belt in his last fight. He's won 9 straight, including his last fight via TKO. He's not lost since October 2016. He's a regional champion, or was. He used to fight at 135 and 155. 2014 pro MMA debut. 7 years younger than Brandão, an inch taller. A movie I've seen, Gumby, Gremlins, and Gremlins too.
Siraj is the one who beat Abasov, for the title, who we talked about a couple of episodes ago, who's fighting at Cage Warriors. So, he's got some really quality wins, and this strikes me a lot like when we talked about the Yaroslav Abasov fight with Millender. This strikes me as just like they're trying to get Jamie Siraj a fight that will show him that he can beat high-level guys. Because I actually think the Abasov fight probably means more, but like Siraj should be a -500 favorite here. This guy is destined to be in the UFC soon.
He must be good. He's Canadian, and you're saying he's good?
I mean, he's really high level. I mean, was he not the unified champ? Is that the other promotion he was? Yeah, I remember him winning the unified one and being like, damn, he looked good in that fight. And then he came down and beat Abasov as an underdog, because I remember we got underdog prices. Everybody was pumped to the Discord when he won. And like, I don't know have you seen any footage of Brandão fighting recently?
Not recently, no.
It's like kind of sad, because remember,
I can imagine
when he was like fun and exciting, like his fun and exciting run was just because he was so powerful and like so explosive, and like all of that's gone. It just feels like there's nothing left there.
It happens,
they say power is the last thing to go, and it I mean, I guess the explosion to the power is kind of...
It does go, though. That's the thing.
It does go. It does
Maybe
go.
It was the last thing.
50 fights in 20 years is probably time for it to go. And yeah, I just expect Siraj to do whatever he needs to on the feed. If he wants to try to grapple, I mean, I think at this point he's probably good enough to just tool on Brandão on the mat. I think you're going to see like a -500, -600, and it'll probably balloon up as people throw him into their parlay. So give me Jamie Siraj in this one.
No, I'm saying he must be amazing. Gumby's so in on a Canadian fighter. Siraj, Kawaihae, Penha, Walker, and Kanybek. What was the line you predicted for Kanybek? You had him as a favorite, right?
I think it's -200 was my guess.
Right, because he was up against a guy with a fairly decent resume. All right, lightning rounds. That bad boom pow. You got some extra plays for us?
Yeah, I like Enzo Perez. He's going to be on this fight card. He's a Cuban wrestler. So that's
nice.
Usually a pretty good background to come for. Maybe not the Giovanni Palacios level Cuban wrestler that hopefully we see in the UFC soon, but good enough that he should win a regional fight against a guy with a similar record. And then I also like Miguel Angel Sosa, mostly just because I'm so intrigued about how this guy's size works, but he's a 6'1" bantamweight. Which is just so weird. Yeah, and his arms are probably 6'4", maybe 6'5". Like he's got like a weird reach on top of that. So, he's going to be a tough out for anybody. And, he's got some pretty nice boxing to go along with it. So I'm going to take Souza and Perez as my 2 lightning round plays.
All right. You are all set for Tuff-N-Uff. Now you can see why we cover this event. It should be a fun one, and it'll be easy to watch on UFC Fight Pass. And we will be in the Discord chatting about it for sure when it is happening. There's a lot of sickos in there, just like you people watching and or listening. So that would be Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, Tuff-N-Uff 142. All right. Discord is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. The YouTube is MMA Gambling Podcast. Smash that subscribe button and then go buy yourself another button and smash that one too. X it's called now, right? SGPN MMA is our X handle. He's at Gumby Vreeland. I'm at Jeff Fox Writer. You can check out me on Instagram, same handle, Jeff Fox Writer. Check out my Substack, moneymma.substack.com. Check out Gumby's Top Turtle podcast. It is an all Louisiana episode.
Yeah, Carly Judici and Kurt Hollabaugh on this week.
Did you fall back into a Louisiana accent, Gumby?
Even in the gratuitous amount of time I spent down there, I never picked one up. I don't even think I ever started dropping y'alls or anything like that. I just nah.
Especially at a young age.
I got the wicked thing already, so
Okay, yeah. I thought especially at you were a younger age, so you kind of pick up things sometimes, but no y'alls for Gumby. Too bad. Anyhow, check out the Top Turtle. It is always a good listen. And Judici has been on it before.
Hollabaugh's been on like 3 or 4 times, I think. I had him on right before he was on the first ever main event of Dana White's Contender Series. Did you know that he was the first ever main event fighter?
Man, that show's been on forever. As I said a few episodes ago.
He beat Matt Bassett in the main event, and then didn't pump for steroids. He had they found out he used an IV drip beforehand, and they took his win away.
Luckily, they don't care about anything anymore, pretty much. I guess, actually, Marcos Rogerio de Lima, the epitome of the steroid body, got popped for steroids recently, though. So some people still get caught. All right, so check out the Top Turtle. And, of course, you can check us out, all our stuff, all the goodness at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Madness is your code. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon for bonus content. And when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy and when you sign up for mybookie.ag, your promo code is MMASGPN. That way you get bonus stuff and we get credited for it. It is your turn to bid the people farewell.
I just did the last one, but that's okay. I can do this
one. Okay, yeah, you're right.
I'm Daniel Gumby Freeland. He's Jeff Air Fox, and we will see you tomorrow.